Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思吃都还难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm your host 牛红林, joined by the beautiful and brilliant Jessica Luo and the studio's one and only Chinese calligraphy guru, Carl Benjaminson. Hi guys.
Hello.
It's great to be here.
Great to have you guys here. So, have you ever feel like you are a grown-up now?
This is something I've had to wrestle with a long time, is to transitioning from someone who feels like a kid into an adult.
I still feel like a kid. Is that has something to do with not getting married or, not, maybe for some other people, not living alone, still living with your parents? When is a good point where you start to feel like you are a grown-up now?
When I reach that point, I will
Which
let you know.
is?
37 years here on, God's earth, I haven't reached that point yet. But if I get there, I will let you know what it feels like.
Great. That is a great answer. I feel the same way. I can never feel like a grown-up. But in Chinese, a very simple way of saying 大人is grown-up. I love it. I love that expression because 大 is big, 人 is person. So when you are, a normal adult-sized person, you should feel grown-up already. I'm not like that, but we can certainly discuss. For our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grips with the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes a day and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, CRI Learn Chinese, a page that you can also check us out there by videos and live streaming. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway.
Chinese 101, a promise beyond the basics.
祝你18岁生日快乐。
谢谢，从今天起我就是个大人了。祝你18岁生日快乐。
Happy 18th birthday to you.
So 祝你 is a standard starting line when you want to wish someone something. So 祝 is wish, 你 is you. So 祝你 is actually wish you.
If you say 祝你, in this case, it's for someone's birthday. But if someone's going to, say, sit an exam or have an operation, is that the same sort of wishes? Can you say, 祝你, your surgery goes well?
You can actually say that.
Okay.
Yes.
And how would you say that?
You say 祝你手术顺利。手术 is surgery, 顺利 is smooth.
So 顺利 is smooth, so you could insert any kind of action there. And say 顺利 after it. So, for example, I wish your test goes well. How would you say that?
祝你考试顺利。
祝你考试顺利。
But we also, as Chinese people who like to take tests, I started to think that Chinese people really like tests now. And we will wish for a more specific something. For example, we say 祝你考试得高分.
Oh, to get a high points on the test.
Yes. So that's more specific. But generally speaking, you can use 祝你 as wish you and then wish them anything you want.
Oh.
And 18岁.
So that's 18 years.
Yes. 岁 is years old sometimes. So if I say 我18岁, that's I am 18 years old. So 岁 actually means a year. It's a more sophisticated way to say year or a more ancient way to say year. But here, if you say 18岁, that's definitely 18 years old.
And you can ask someone, how old are you, by just saying 几岁?
你几岁了? Mostly to kids. If you're saying it to a senior citizen, that just sounds a little bit strange because in Chinese, we tend to be very respectful to those who are older than us.
So how would you say, how old are you, if you're talking to an old person, if you're game enough to ask?
Yeah, you are going to say 您贵庚.
您贵庚
Yep, that's a very appropriate way to say. And 贵 is valuable. So the same 贵 in 贵姓. 贵姓 would be what's your very valuable, very noble last name. And 庚 actually is, again, an ancient way of years old. So 您贵庚 is actually saying, I know you're a senior person, I need to know your age, and I'm asking it in a very respectful way.
But be careful because I feel like this should only be used for those very senior people. So if you are confronted with someone you think are middle-aged and you want to ask their age, how would you do so?
I don't really recommend you asking that question.
So it's kind of like in Western culture. It's okay to ask a child or an old person how old they are, but if they're middle-aged, maybe don't push the point.
If you need them to just fill in some certain forms, you can just ask 姓名, so what's your name? 年龄. 年龄 is the formal term for age. So 年龄 would suggest that I need you to give me the number indicating your age, but I'm only doing that because the form requires me to do so. And we have 生日快乐, which we've been talked about before. 生日 is birthday, 快乐 is happy. You say 生日快乐, happy birthday, 节日快乐, happy festival, 新年快乐, happy new year. Same logic, same structure. And then part B said, 谢谢，从今天起我就是个大人了。
Thanks. From today, I'm an adult now.
从今天起 there is a interesting grammar takeaway from today. 从今天起 starting from today. So 从 sometime 起 or 开始 开始 would also mean start or beginning. So 从 plus a time or an event plus 开始 or 起 would be the structure you use to say starting from a certain point. So what you guys can say if you want to say starting next month.
Starting next month.
Starting next month.
从下个月起.
Perfect. Or if you want to use 开始 and you want to say from the starting of next year.
从明年开始.
Yes, perfect. Or if I wanted to say something about from the past. So if I want to say, so from the point where I was still in primary school, I liked drawing. How to say that?
从我上小学开始.
Yes. And I liked drawing.
特别喜欢画画.
Perfect.
Okay, so then the action goes after. So for example, from next month, my company will get busier and busier.
Yes, and how can you say that?
从下个月起公司会越来越忙.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, 越来越 being more and more.
More and more. So 从什么时候起 or 从什么时候开始 would be the structure here. And a funny thing is we also have a kind of a set phrase 从头开始. What do you think that means? 从头开始.
I know 头 can mean head.
No idea. Starting from the head, something?
If it's starting from the head, it's starting from the beginning. So if I say 我们从头开始, it means, for example, there is a project that we have been working on, but we decide that it's not good enough. We want to just start from the very beginning, start over. Then we say, 我们放弃现在的, we give up what we have now, 从头开始.
So in English, we would say go back to the drawing board. Is that something that's similar?
It's totally similar, yes. And funny enough, some hairdressers like to use it as a slogan, telling you to start from the head. You know, if you want a wonderful life, you need to 从头开始, start from the very beginning.
从头开始. Very useful phrase.
Yes.
So one question, the 从 and then 起 or 从 and 开始, what's the difference between those? When do I know when to use 起 and when to use 开始?
Actually, I feel like there's absolutely no difference. But if I have to say something, it's possible that when you are writing something, when it's written Chinese, you use 起 a little bit more often. Because 起 is one character word. It sounds more official. It sounds a little bit more concise. So it's more formal.
Okay.
And then part B said, 我就是个大人了.
So I am an adult now. So I guess adult is 大人.
大人. And adult, actually 大人 is a kind of childish way to address adult.
I'm a big person now.
I'm a big person now. So, see, you know it's kind of childish.
And the other grammar point just to pick up on is 就. So something has just happened. They've just become an adult.
Totally. So, 大人, if you use the word 大人 to refer to adult, it's totally childish because, you know, big person. But if you use 大人 in some other ways, then it carries different kinds of meanings. We'll talk about that in the later half of today's show. This is supposed to be an easy conversation. I trust you guys have mastered it.
祝你18岁生日快乐。
谢谢，从今天起，我就是个大人了。
Perfect. You are listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Honglin, Jessica, and Carl. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about expressions related to kids and grown-ups. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away.
Language tips. All you need to learn about Chinese culture and have fun.
Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Carl and Jessica. So, 大人, big person. People speak English say that too.
We kind of make fun of little kids, and we'll say, "Oh, you're a big boy now," or "You're a big girl now," but they're still usually small children, right? To make them feel like sometimes we can use the word big kid. You're a big kid. But yeah, we don't really use big person as an adult.
Actually, in Chinese, we also say big kid. We say 大孩子. 大孩子. So if we say 你是个大孩子了, it means you are still a kid, but you have grown up and you should understand certain things. It's always the kind of scenario where the adults are trying to, you know, manipulate the kid into doing something.
Of course.
They will say 大孩子, big kid.
But I think you can also call someone a big kid in English. It just depends on the tone you're using, whether you're calling them a bit irresponsible or whether they're, like we'd say, young at heart, for example.
Yes, so if I called Carl a big kid, it means he would be young at heart and do childish things, but usually we mean it in an endearing, cute way.
I think we have that in Chinese as well, but in Chinese it's a little bit more hostile, a little bit more...
Negative.
We say 大宝宝.
Oh, big baby.
Big
we have
baby.
that in English as well.
Yes.
And there's no good version of that.
No. So, in terms of 大孩子, big kid, mostly it's talking about adult. And when it's... So we've mentioned that 大人 can be used as adult or grown up. So we say 你是一个大人了，不要像个小孩子一样。
So you're an adult. Stop acting like a kid.
That is also the kind of sentence you can say to pretty much everyone. It does not necessarily only apply to a kid. You can also say it to an actual adult who are acting like a kid. But have you ever encountered the situation that your parents believe? One, they believe you need to do some certain family chores. They say, 你是个大人了. You are an adult now. You should be responsible. 你应该担负起责任来, so shoulder responsibility. And when they're having an actual important conversation, one you want to get in, they will say, 小孩子别插嘴. So as a kid, you should not, you know, barge into our conversation.
别插嘴.
别插嘴. Yes, 插嘴 插 is like stick, 嘴 is mouth. So don't stick your mouth into our conversation. So I always believe that for our parents, the matter of whether or not we are an adult is totally up to them, or up to the mood of that day of them.
Of course.
Yes. So we've mentioned adult. No. So we've established 大人 can be used in modern Chinese, meaning grown-ups. And there's another use of 大人, which is much more interesting, because in ancient Chinese, we say 大人 as in you are the big person that has the big power that can decide a lot of important things. So in really ancient Chinese, when it's government official having the power or right to decide important matters, we call them 大人. It's kind of like Your Highness or Your Majesty.
Although there is a Chinese word, is there not, which is 母亲大人, which is
母亲大人.
like mother-in-law, which maybe says a lot about Chinese family relations.
To be fair, 母亲大人 can be used for both birth mother and mother-in-law.
Oh, okay. Because I think nowadays most people call your mother-in-law 婆婆.
婆婆, yes.
And how would you call your father-in-law nowadays?
公公.
公公.
So, again, 大人 is the person. 大人 is supposed to be the people who are holding certain right to you, who are holding certain right to you, who can decide important matters. That is why we have 母亲大人. If you say 母亲大人, so my very important, very powerful mom, it does not matter if you say it to her face or say it to others. Nowadays, it carries a certain kind of joking tone. You're not actually saying she is like really important. You're saying, I love her, but she decides a lot of things.
Although you say it's not important, but on behalf of Takeaway Chinese, we're not suggesting you put that to the test.
That's actually true.
So I have one question. Maybe it's not really related to 大人, but nowadays I hear a lot of people being called 老大.
老大,
And what exactly does that mean? Old, big, right? Literally. But who can we call 老大?
老大, I feel like a more normal way of using that would be calling the first kid the biggest kid in the family. So if you're the oldest brother or oldest sister, you're the 老大 in the family.
Ah, I see.
However, some people also use it as a slang to call the allegedly leader in your little group. Yeah, you say 老大, meaning that I am listening to you, you can make some decisions, you are the most important person in this little group.
Oh, very nice.
Also, a little bit jokingly. And have you guys ever heard of the phrase 老婆大人?
老婆, I guess, would be like old婆, some sort of wife or mother-in-law.
老婆 is wife.
Okay, 老婆, then wife. 大人, wears the pants.
Yeah, totally. You got it absolutely right. So, 老婆大人 would be someone let's say if a husband is talking to his wife and asking for permission of buying an expensive car or some important family decision and he's trying to butter up, he's going to say 老婆大人, in a very sweet and groveling way.
Is there a word to describe that wife's husband, though?
There is one. So is there one word in English? I gotta ask first.
I think we'd probably say henpecked. It's a very old-fashioned term.
I don't really know that term at all. I do say, when I said, where's the pants, that's not a literal translation. It means when we say a wife wears the pants at home, it's the expression that kind of means she is the one making the decisions, right?
She's in charge.
So I guess the husband of someone who wears the pants, I don't think we really have any positive terms for that in English. Maybe a couple terms, but none of them are very positive.
Well, I would like to think that the Chinese ones are not so positive, but again, we started to use them in a jokingly kind of way. We started to make fun, kind of make fun of those husbands, but in a kind way, and it's not that negative anymore. But we have 妻管严.
妻管严.
妻管严. So 妻 stands for 妻子.
So we've got wife.
管.
管is like to take care of something or to manage
something.
Something.
管理, 管. Manage. 严. 严 stands for 严厉 or 严格. Strict.
Strict.
Ah, so his wife is strictly managing him.
Yes, but actually that term was created because 妻管严 sounds like 气管炎. So 气管炎 is a disease, it's bronchitis. So I think the word is created because people think it's funny to pick out this word that has the similar pronunciation with a disease, suggesting that if you're too afraid of your wife, you're having a disease. And we've covered 大人 already. 小人 is a funny one because if you think about it, 大人 is big person, then 小人 would be small person, then 小人 should mean kid, child. But actually, 小人 means not child. Well, no. But actually, 小人...
What is 小人? So I can't... 孩子 is child. So what exactly is 小人?
Actually, 小人 means a bad person. Someone who's bad in a lot of different but trivial ways. So if we're talking about a 小人, it's the kind of people who might not violate the law, might not kill or rob or set a fire to someone's house, but they do little things that annoy you, they break their promises, they sabotage in other people's life. They are bad in a minor but very annoying way.
So I think we'd call them a jerk.
Oh yeah, kind of.
Not necessarily evil, but they're just a jerk.
But in English, we also have this phrase where you can tell someone to be the bigger person and don't be so small and low, which actually means in English, similarly, like don't be the person who lacks morals or does catty things. I think catty means those small things that may make you very angry, like talk behind your back or lack morals or being selfish, that kind of thing. So
yes.
We can also say in English, like, don't be such a small person or a catty person. Be the bigger person.
Yes.
And don't, stoop to their level.
Exactly. So. That's the meaning of 小人. Sometimes I found it difficult to translate, to do direct translation, because in Chinese, sometimes a word would carry so many layers of meanings. You might find a direct translation for one layer of it, but it's hard to find a English equivalent that can express all of that meanings. But still, 小人, I think you've done a great description. I think you've explained it quite well.
So how could we use 小人 in a sentence, or when would we ever use it?
You use it to describe someone that you do not want to be friends with because you believe he has no moral code. So you can say, 我不喜欢他，他是个小人.
So I don't like that person because they're a 小人.
Yes. Or you can actually give a reason. For example, you can say, 他见利忘义是个小人. So 见 would be see, li is profit, wang is forget about, and yi is basically code, moral code, or the righteousness, the right way of doing things.
Oh, so like forgetting friendship for profit.
Yes, kind of. Yes. So that's how you use the word 小人. Now we've established that 大人 is a grown-up and 小人 is a bad person.
Now we know.